Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Welcome to another live with Hanifa Nayela. I am Hanifa Nayela, and it is a pleasure to be here with you guys on this good old Friday evening. Today we have a lovely show for you guys. Every Friday this month, I've been trying to incorporate a Black Love Friday where I bring either professionals who deal with couples on or couples themselves on to have the conversation. Today, this Friday, it's no different. We're going to have a conversation with a married couple about creating and cultivating peace in our relationships. We hear a lot about peace in relationships, and it's usually one-sided. It's usually the woman being told to be the husband's peace. But today we're going to really delve in on how important it is for both people in the relationship to be a sense of peace for each other. So, making sure that your peace is mutual between you and your partner. And so I'm super excited to have this conversation with this particular couple. If you are here, please let me know you're here. Please don't lurk in the clouds. We are friendly over here. I like to interact with the viewers. I like to give highlight questions being asked by the viewers, if at all possible. I like to highlight your comments. Most of all, I like to know who is here so that I can shout you guys out. So just some housekeeping real quick. So if you have not subscribed and it's your first time here, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. If you are watching this on the replay and you haven't subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button. That helps the channel. Also, if you are interested in following me on social media, you can follow me on Instagram at The Real Hanifa Nayela. It'll be at the bottom of the entire show. And also, if you are feeling generous, people usually ask, so I make sure that it's here. If you are feeling generous and you want to drop a little cash app, a little money, a little coins in my cash app will be at the bottom of the screen. It is $ Hanifa Nayela. Feel free. I will not refuse your coins. Okay, so I usually like to see who is here with us so that I can make sure that I shout them out, say what's up, let them know that we know that they're here and that we see them. So that's important as well. Get your friends, your family, those people who are interested in relationships, those people who have relationships, those people who are out there in the dating market, bring them in. Let's have this conversation. This is what the Black Love conversation is all about. I saw Knowledge and Relationships came through and said and put some tea up in here. So shout out to Knowledge and Relationship, a platform that I absolutely respect. I see I have one of my siblings up in here. She says, Taki says, hey sis, hey to you sis as well. Thanks for always being here and always supporting the platform. I appreciate it very much. Okay, when your sister makes it big, we make it big. So thanks for your support. Shout out to my family, y'all. And so yeah, we have those two people. As people continue to come in, I'm going to make sure that I shout them out. This is going to be a really good show. It's going to be a really, really good show. December is going to also be an interesting month for the platform. I'm really trying to sort out a few things because the calendar year is almost over, and I'm really trying to decide the direction. Might be the same direction, but the direction I want the platform to go in, the direction I want the channel to go in. So it's a lot of decisions to make in December. And one of the things I encourage you guys to do too, hit me up. Let me know if anything that you guys want me to talk about. I can try to find someone to have the conversation with. At any time. Maybe it's a video you want me to react to because you want us to have a conversation about that particular video. So make sure you guys just hit me up and let me know what your thoughts are. Again, if you're here and you're lurking, don't do that. Don't do that. That's rude. Just go ahead and let me know you're here so that I can shout you out. Let me see if my guest is ready because they are here, but I'll be waiting for them to return because I don't see them on camera as yet. Let me know how you guys are feeling. I know some of us celebrate Thanksgiving, some of us do not. How is your holiday going so far? Make sure you let us know in the chat. It's been pretty quiet over on my side. Just chilling and just relaxing. I see my guests, they're back. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring my guests up. Oh, we have someone say Mawusi. Mawusi 34 says hello Ayapo and Angela. Oh, I'm gonna bring them up so they can say hello to you, Mawusi, right now. Without further ado, let me bring my guest up. Welcome to the stage, Ayapo, and Ayapo. You're gonna have to tell me if I should be calling you Ayapo or Iapo. You like
Ayapo.
it's Ayapo.
With
Okay,
a
so
long
Ayapo,
eye.
Ayapo and Angela.
Yes.
Welcome to my platform. I know this is you guys' first time here. I'm super excited. And I'm gonna talk about what led me to bring you guys on. It's real cute. And Mawusi wanted to make sure that you guys got his shout out. So Mawusi says hello to Ayapo
And
and
I would say,
Angela.
woo, woo.
How are you guys feeling today?
Good, good. I forgot that you could see us in that corner. We was gonna wait for you to bring us on, and we wasn't gonna be sitting there.
Oh yes, yes, I can see you.
And I
Absolutely.
think couldn't trick you.
Yeah. First of all, it's a pleasure to have you guys on the platform. I'm gonna tell you guys why it's a pleasure to have you on the platform. So Ayapo, I know that I met you through I think it's my ads chat.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And I always like your perspective in the chat because chats we be talking back and forth, right? Specifically
Sure.
on certain platforms. Um and so you talk a lot about wait, pause. Let me make sure I let the people know that I know that they're here. So we have Ivy. Ivy says, hello, Anjana and Ayapo. Okay. And also to Viola. Hello from Viola, your neighbor. Oh, you guys are loved. You guys are
All right.
loved. And again, I want to welcome Ivy, Viola, Mawusi, to this platform. I think this is my first. This might be their first time here. If it's your first time here, make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Yes, we're gonna have a really good time. So I am going to say Ayapo.
Mm-hmm.
I would see you in the chat and you talk a lot about Angela, about like you'll say stuff in the chat like I'm about to go take a walk on the beach
Yeah.
with my lovely wife, and the way that you talk about her, right? It's just really, really sweet. And so when I decided to do a black love, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if Ayapo will be willing to come on because when you talk, I always get a sense of the importance, and I don't know you guys personally, but I
Mm-hmm.
always get a sense from what you're saying of the importance of peace in you guys' relationship. The way that you talk about your wife is in such a very gracious and peaceful way. And so I'm just like, oh, I want to talk to them. Please let us know your secret. But I want to make sure that I let Inya know that Inya, welcome Inya. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you. And I see someone by the name of Ayoka. Ayoka B says, hey
Ayaka.
family. Welcome, Ayoka. Welcome, welcome. We are happy to have you here with us. All right. Thank you, Ivy. Ivy said she already subscribed. I appreciate you guys. If you guys
Right.
here for the first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button. Let's get into this conversation. So, Ayapo and Angela, please do tell. I'm going to have to familiarize myself with you guys. So, the first part of this is going to be me kind of getting a sense of, you guys' story. For example, how did you guys, when and how did you guys meet?
You want to take that?
Sure, I can take it. Again, my name is Angela. We actually met on
YouTube.
YouTube. We met
YouTube
on
hookup? Okay.
back in the days, right when lives were kind of becoming a thing.
Mhm.
Okay.
I was doing lives. My mom, Ivy, was in South Africa, and I was doing lives, and that's the first time that I remember encountering Ayapo on a live.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Okay. So who made the first move?
That's a good
That's a
question.
good question.
Okay, so we probably have different perspectives on this.
Mhm.
Okay.
I like romance. I like romantic comedies, and I remember that Ayapo had reached out to me and said this. Actually, okay. So, and I was also working on some stuff for my business, and he had reached out and offered to be of assistance in my business.
Right.
I
Okay.
didn't know whether to interpret that as he liked me or not, but I thought it was a possibility. As we were talking, we ended up talking about romantic comedies. He said that his favorite romantic comedy, I can't remember what it was, but we ended up watching it together. He was 3 hours, 4 hours away from me.
My best friend.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't need to advertise
Yeah.
somebody else's movie.
Oh.
It's not
Yeah,
Black
right,
Love.
right,
But
right.
anyway, we were watching it together and communicating via text. And I
Okay.
was thinking, I wonder why he doesn't just call me. And then it occurred to me, well, he probably is sitting next to his woman or his wife or his girlfriend, and so that's why he's texting.
Mhm.
Um, so by that point, I think that I thought that I had a crush on him. And there
Okay.
was another woman that I knew from these YouTube streets. She had
Okay.
come from somewhere in the Midwest. We had met up in Detroit before, and I remember telling her, I think I have a crush on Ayapo. She's like, oh, yeah, he likes you too. Do you see those long comments he leaves you? I'm like, Ayapo leaves long comments for everyone. You ever met Ayapo? That doesn't mean he likes me, but I really liked seeing him in chats. I really liked how he carried himself. I really liked how kind and respectful he
Yes.
seemed to people. I really, really appreciated that about him. And then, you know, as we got to know each other, I thought he was very funny and creative. His channel, when it was active at the beginning of each video, which would generally be on a serious topic, there would be like a little mini movie, like a 30-second movie, 1 minute movie. And I was just like, that's so different. That's so creative. I was just so impressed. And I thought that he would, as we got to know each other, I thought that he would be a funny guy as
Mhm.
well as serious. Like there would be a
Mhm.
nice balance. Little did I know.
Wow. So wait, so you guys, was this a long distance situation when you guys started talking?
It was. I was in Ohio. She was in Michigan, and
Okay.
I started going to see her. Now, when I first started watching her channel, uh, I just was immediately. Um, I can't use the word enamored, but I was just immediately drawn in because she has Angela has this positive energy about her, and I would watch it, and if I just wanted to feel good, I would watch it. And then sometimes I get on there and I just be trolling the heck out of her.
Because
But
at that time, a lot of the stuff that I reviewed was like reality TV.
right,
And so people like I'd be talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, very serious things, and he would get on with his jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
troll the crap out of her. But then finally, I did like I'm a graphic designer. I wanted to help her with a logo.
Uh-huh.
Then that we discovered that our design aesthetic is so different that I can barely. I I had to fire her as a client. I
Oh.
could not work with her because I couldn't get the design the way she wanted it. She would literally draw it out for me, and I still couldn't get it. But now, well, we can go into that later. But after that, we just like really started talking. And long story short, when I met her, she was she was and is just like she presented herself to be. Because you have a lot of people on YouTube who can pretend to be
Yeah.
whatever. I met her; she's exactly the way that she seems like she is. Very,
That's important. That's
oh,
important.
yeah, very.
Wait 1 second. Let me make sure. Let me make sure. Knowledge and relationship. Welcome back. I shouted you out earlier because you were one of my first comments. Shout out to Darren Long for the support. Appreciate you. Knowledge and relationship says, I love to see black love. The media always paints us in a negative light. Yes, and this is why we have to definitely highlight more of the positive because we know they're out there. Some of us are in close proximity to them. So why not highlight it for people who may not have that experience that you have? But Ayapo, go ahead. My apologies.
Oh no, no, you're fine. And thank you for having us on your platform. I should have said that to start out with.
Yes. Thank you for having us on your lovely platform.
Because
Thank you.
and this is an awesome series. It's awesome because this is what we need.
Yes.
Because there is a lot of black love out here.
Yes,
Uh,
it is. Yes, it
so
is. My other thing is, how long have you guys been married?
what 3 years?
I think it's 3 years.
Yeah,
We
something
met,
like
we
yeah,
both
right.
missed our anniversary,
Right.
and I still am not. It's sometime in the fall. So I think this fall we made 3 years.
Right. Time flies when you're having fun. It's just what we knew each other 2 years before we got married.
Um,
And our wedding is on YouTube. So
Our
we
wedding
met
is
on
on
YouTube, and
YouTube.
our wedding is on YouTube.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is it
Yeah,
on your channel?
it's on my channel. And
Okay, I'm
just
gonna go
did
pull
love
that up,
yeah.
Ayapo. So I
What
have a quick. So
what?
my other
Don't
question is,
cry. Yeah.
I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
So don't cry.
No, I'm
Yeah.
not crying. No, so okay, so Ayapo, did you know immediately? Like, I know when we had Man Show on, they were talking about like men usually know that very early, much earlier than us, that this is the person I'm going to marry or want to marry. Did you know really early that Angela, you would make Angela your wife?
Yeah. When we met, I did. Now, no, I was gonna say full disclosure. I didn't. I'm trying to say this right. I didn't want to get married, but it wasn't like, oh, I don't want to get married. I don't ever want to be married. It wasn't that. I was just like, our relationship was good, and I'm not one of these people that feels like you get married and then it's gonna fall apart. I was like,
Hmm.
why do we need to get married? She said, I'm gonna get married. I said, then let's get married. When she mentioned moving to the tropics, we were we had just started dating, and she said, well, I'm gonna be moving to the tropics. I said, okay, well, let's go.
And I was like, oh,
Right.
okay. I didn't know how to feel about that.
Right.
This is how I remember it in terms of getting married from my perspective.
Okay.
Because this is my third marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and this is his fourth marriage.
Right.
The first time I got married, I was like, getting married? Why do I need to pay the government money to validate my feelings? What does that
Mhm.
have to do with anything?
Right.
Hmm.
By my second marriage, I think I was pretty clear that I wanted to be married. And when we got together, I remember us having a conversation. He's like, well, if you want to get married, we can get married. If you don't want to get married, we don't have to get married. I don't really care. And I was like, well, I don't know how I feel. So
Oh, and that's not me.
um, I kind of had to process how I felt. But at some point, kind of there's some legal and health issues that I felt like it was kind of important from my perspective to be married. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm.
I twisted his arm and
She didn't
made
twist
him
my
get
arm.
married.
She didn't twist my arm.
So
I'm
so
happy to do it.
So Ayapo, why were you so open to moving? Were you already interested in perhaps leaving the United States? So when she said that, it was like, oh yeah, like let's go. Why was that so or were you just head over heels for Angela? I mean, what
Yeah,
was going on there?
I kind of say it. Angela says it so much better than I do, but it's the way that I feel about it. It's like, our people were kidnapped and taken over there. We get treated like crap over there. I don't feel like a citizen over there. I felt no real attachment
Okay.
to it.
Hmm.
So leaving it, especially with the way that everything has gotten and the way things are continuing to go,
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, it wasn't like a hard decision for me.
So it wasn't for the love of Angela, it was for the hate of America.
That's not true. Oh, no, that's not. And see,
That's
that's
basically
what happens
what
when you marry a character, which I guess you would know.
right. That's basically what you said, babe.
Angela said, "Not for the love of me, for the dislike of this of these hair lands."
Oh yeah,
Right.
oh yeah. But everything has had because of being here. My writing is taken off. My health. Like you see me now. Now, if you look at some of the old videos, I'm like 70 pounds lighter, 80 pounds lighter
Okay.
Now
now.
than on the older videos.
Yeah,
Oh.
when I got here, um, and and I guess everything. I often tell Angela about it, like when we're walking, and yeah, we do walk on the beach every day. And when I talk to her about it, it's like I am so thankful and so grateful that I met her. Because if I hadn't, I likely would still be in the United States. I likely would still have the weight. I likely still would. And I was when I was turning vegetarian. I'm not vegan,
Mm-hmm.
and Angela's not vegan, but we're vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
And I was already headed that way. But Angela's been one much longer than me. She's like helping me to, she has taught me how to eat better and so on. I'll still have some junk every now and then,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, everything is just so much better. And I think the most important thing was when we came together and when we found each other. Neither of us was looking for anybody. We weren't we're
Okay.
two whole people coming together. I was happy in my life, she was happy in hers, and we came together, and it works because of that. We've learned lessons from past relationships
Yes.
that we bring into this to help us to just make everything better.
Yeah. Angela, what do you love most about Ayapo?
My looks.
Ayapo, stay out of this part of it.
There's a lot that I appreciate about Ayako. I really, as I started off saying, as I started to get to know him, I really appreciated the way that he carried himself and the way that he treated other people. I feel that that's kind of important. Yeah, like not just how somebody treats me, but how they treat other people.
Right.
Love his sense of humor. I love his work ethic. I love his passion. When he's into something, he's really into something. When he fired me as a client in graphic design years ago, I didn't know that I had been fired. But over the years, I've definitely known that we have a tough time, graphically, although I feel that we've done some really brilliant work. But
Mhm.
I just am now learning Photoshop and so I always feel
Okay.
like I am able to learn something new from our relationship in terms of my growth and development as a human being, as a writer. I have grown leaps and bounds
Mm-hmm.
as a result of our relationship. I love the passion that he has for Black people and being of service to Black people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, really grateful to be married to a Black, loving Black man. I really, really appreciate the thoughtfulness with which he approaches his life, and in the way that he moves and the way that he is in the world. He's
Mm-hmm.
very intense. I tend to like intensity. He's just on that borderline of too intense for me, but I like intensity. But he really has a desire to do the right thing and
Mm-hmm.
to really deeply think things through, which I
Mm.
really love and appreciate that. Um, I feel like he's kind, he's compassionate. Like, I feel like what's not to love?
I love it. I love it. Ayapo, the same question to you, Ayapo. What do you love most about Angela?
There- I know this is gonna sound pat, but there's so much to love about her. I love her attitude. I love her creativity. I love her. I, I love the fact that when she's dealing with people, she is always seeking the very best outcome for others. Like I can't. I don't really know how to put it into words. She's always seeking the very best outcome. She's always seeking a win-win. She's always seeking to help and to be
Mm-hmm.
of service and to help with uh, growth and development in people. And and she's extremely talented
Mm.
and she's smart. And I learned from her a lot. A lot of people talk about learning. I've heard a lot of women talking about what they learn from their husbands. I learned a lot from my wife
Mhm.
There are things that I have totally turned around, like in my view of. Um, just one example is when we first got together. I was talking about how one of my goals was to help our people because we want to get out from under this system of white supremacy. And she said, "Well, what makes you think our people want to get out from under it?"
Mm.
I
Mm.
really, really started thinking about that, and that shaped everything that I do now, as far as working to take control of our narrative and getting our people to see ourselves as we are, and not through the lens of what we were taught by others who hate us, and so on.
Mm.
So there's that, and she's a sweet woman. She's kind, and cook her butt off,
Oh.
and,
Oh.
and just she's just she's probably one of the most quality people I've ever met, male or female. She's one of the most quality people I've ever known. And
Mm.
she's my best friend. It sounds corny. She's my best friend.
Mm, mm. Oh, you guys just said, I don't even know we might as well just end right here. We might as well just end. Y'all just sit there. That is all, folks. Okay. All right. Let me make sure,
Bye.
right? Let me make sure those who just came in, I wanted to read what Mawusi said about you guys. He said, what I like about them is they stay to themselves and are committed to Black love. And that's very, very much appreciated. Mawusu, my aunt says, family, family.
Family,
And peace, sister,
fam.
my eye.
Peace to you, sister. My aunt, thanks for always showing love and passing through. The wireless woman, hey, hey. Thanks for coming through and supporting, sis. So I wanted to make sure I asked that because I think it's important, especially in these spaces, that we hear couples talk about what they love about each other,
Mhm.
because it's very easy to focus on, your challenges, right? Or the challenges of relationships in general, and which I'm about to come to as well. So, because this is specifically about creating and cultivating peace in your relationship, has there been a time in you guys' relationship, marriage, that you may have felt that like it's something that you guys may not overcome, and then you were able to overcome it, or you were able to get through it? Can you let us know about that, and how you guys were able to work together to overcome? You don't have to go into specific details if it's really personal.
No,
Can't
I
really
can't.
think of one.
I can't think. I can't think of it.
Oh,
But I, but
We've
I,
only been married a few years,
right,
so
right. I'm still waiting for. I'm still waiting for the real her to come out. So,
for my representative to go away and for me to come out.
but I can say this though. We had, we don't agree on everything.
yeah.
And that's natural. And I'm often saying, I'm very suspicious of anybody who agrees with everything that I think. And so
Yes,
we're two different, and we're two different people, and we don't see eye to eye on everything. And
Okay.
we have different ways of approaching things. And there's times that we have had our arguments. I mean, we're two different people. We're married,
Okay.
and we have arguments. But even in the midst of that, we always show a love, honor, and respect for each other.
Okay. Okay.
Always, and
Yeah.
that goes a long, long way.
Yeah, so let me ask this instead then, because I think you guys, I don't know why Angela is over there talking about you only been married 3 years. There's people going through hell in their first year of marriage, ma'am.
right. I know someone who, when she was dating the guy, it was like she was going, and I'm like, girl, the dating part is the fun part. So if it's hell now, where are we going with this?
Where
Right.
we going? Where are you going? Yeah. Um so one of the things I heard from you both have been married a couple of times before. Um I mean, what made you guys still open to the possibility of love after several attempts? Like, what was going on there?
I'll go. I'll go first.
Sure.
I go
Go
first.
ahead.
Um, and I kind of think this will go for you too. But I know for me, I never went. Um, I never I never had a chip on my shoulder. I never went sour.
Okay.
I
Okay.
never, was like, oh, all black women are like blah blah blah, or all women
Mm-hmm.
are. I no, I never went through that. I never went through that,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that each person is an individual.
Okay.
And so anytime someone comes to me, they have a clean slate.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's a I and any problem that I have is actually my problem and not theirs.
Hmm.
Mm.
So yeah, when you come to me, you come to me fresh, and then I work it from there. And so I never grew sour on the idea of love
Mm-hmm.
like that, and I'm glad that I never did. So,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I want to loop back to the other question in terms of what challenges have we overcome in our
Mm-hmm.
relationship. I feel like there are definitely the week to week, day to day challenges.
Yes. Yes.
But what is striking to me, or what's important to me, is how those challenges are handled, and that inspires confidence in me. And I feel like it builds our emotional bank,
Mm-hmm.
at least in my imagination, that when other challenges come up, we have the tools and are developing the tools to handle those.
Mm-hmm.
And that also kind of ties into this question of having been married before. When I was young, I remember thinking, oh, someone's been married 3 times. What's wrong with them? And I remember the last time, I remember this one guy saying to me a couple years ago, you've been divorced. What's wrong with you? You've been divorced 2 times or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It shows up in one of my stories. And he just thought that was like a but as I've had the experience of being in marriages and being in relationships, whether it's marriages or other types of relationships, and as I've done work on myself, I'm much more loving and accepting of myself. I'm much more able to be loving and accepting of other people.
right.
And I kind of feel like the quality that impacts the quality of my relationships. So yeah, no, I never exactly went sour on love. Like, oh my, like all of my marriages, from my perspective, have been great experiences. They
Okay.
have really helped me to grow and develop as a woman,
Mm-hmm.
as a wife, as a person, and they've been blessings to me. So I feel like I love being, married. I love
Mm-hmm.
love. I
Right.
like it. And like I used to think of divorce as failure. Like, oh, someone's been divorced. Oh, I actually, I don't. I just feel like in life you come together. Some people, your relationships are 80 years. Some people, your relationships are 8 minutes. That doesn't devalue the quality of those relationships. I feel like
Mm.
It's a
factor.
quality relationship.
And I feel like even if it's not a quality relationship, I feel like those challenging relationships, from my perspective, are quality relationships.
Mm.
Also,
Mm.
they if in the as much as we can be open to them, as much as I can be open, they help me to grow and to develop. And those challenges, it's hard to find
Mm.
good in God in challenging people and situations.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really quietest is kept the best ones.
Right.
Dealing with Ayako is easy.
Yeah. As I'm listening to you guys, what comes to my mind is a lot of us live life with a lot of rigidity, right? Like there's this, you can't do this. Now that I've been married once or twice, like there's no who's gonna want me. Oh, I have children. Who's going to, like, there's a lot of that happens, especially if you are consuming media from these spaces. You can actually begin to feel isolated and lonely and hopeless, in a sense, in some of the spaces where they're talking about relationships in the way that they're talking about it. But one of the things that I've learned is that rigidness is, it limits us in life. It limits our interactions. And like you made a point, Angela, it could have been an 8 minute interaction that completely changed your life,
Right.
or an 8 month or 8 year interaction, right? This idea of, if it ended, then the people involved are both failures, right? That's a hard concept for me to embrace as well, Angela, where it's like, oh, this ended and it didn't work out, so now y'all should just feel like, and I'm gonna say shit here, should feel like shit for the rest of y'all lives because that specific thing didn't work out. And I think we got to be careful with that, because I think
Mm-hmm.
it's very limiting, and it actually creates a barrier between you and genuine happiness, because that can come in all shapes and forms. But if you're
Mhm.
closed off and you're surrounded by that level of negativity, good luck with the person trying to penetrate through that. But I wanted to get to the comments real quick, and then we're gonna come back to peace. Um, the wireless woman, she says, my ex-husband and I separated after a year and 9 months. This is what I'm telling Angela. It ain't too early. Like some people didn't make it to 12 months.
Oh, right, right.
Right.
Yeah, that's a real thing. um, the wireless woman said, agreed, I'm a great wife. So as long as I meet people who are open to marriage, I will remain open as well. And I think that's a good attitude to have. Um, Angela, you mentioned something about it's something you said that made me said, it's what did you learn though? Like whenever you go through anything in life, relationships, it's sort of like, okay, I would have liked for that to last a little longer. It did not. And after you've processed through that, then it's like, okay, but what did I learn? What are the tools that I gained from that experience that I can utilize in my next experience so that I can go into that as my best self? Go ahead, Angela.
I'm the church lady. I shouldn't say that because I don't want to make But one an area is that
Yeah,
an area that we have a disagreement on. At least the last time we spoke about it is that I kind of feel like
I got
in like as human beings we should come together and relate as long as it's healthy and productive for both of us.
it.
When
Mhm.
it's not healthy and productive for both of us, I think it's good to move on to something,
Mhm.
to other spaces where we can be healthy and productive.
Mhm.
And I feel like you do have to balance that with marriage being committed, because I've
Mhm.
definitely been in marriages where, I realize, well, it takes two people to make a marriage work. I can't be the only one who wants to be married. If we don't both want
Yeah.
to be married, it's not going to work. But I feel like at the same time, I want Ayapo to be happy and I want Ayapo to be free. And I feel like every day Ayapo, if Ayapo tomorrow is like, yeah, I feel like I would be happier in another situation, then I hope that I have the maturity to honor and respect that out of love and care for him. Even, and I feel like stuff ends. That's, my meditation practice has taught me that that's just the nature of things. They arise and they pass away, at least on this plane. It ain't gonna be
Yes.
forever. Our
Yes.
bodies ain't gonna be, so it's high time that we start making peace with the fact that stuff lasts as long as it lasts.
And
Yeah.
to that point, for me, it shows the power of the relationship and of the commitment, where you know that you're probably free to walk, and you choose not to walk
Probably true.
because because well, yeah, I don't know, I don't know.
I could just be
See,
saying that.
you from Detroit, but nothing about anybody back from Detroit. Don't get me, but I love Detroit. But yeah, when you know that you're free to go and you choose to stay, that's
I
where
got you.
real power is to me. And
Mm.
there's no place I'd rather be.
Oh.
Place I'd rather be.
Oh Lord. Okay, let me keep y'all attention before y'all just melt into each other right now. All right. So there's a lot of conversation when we talk about peace. It's always from the angle of woman being told to be his peace. Always. That's usually how it is. Be his peace. Be his peace. And I'm like, okay, I hear that, but we need peace too. Women need peace as well. How do you guys make sure that you create a space, a peaceful space for each other? And I'm going to start with Angela. She can tell me what she does to make sure that the space that she holds for you is a peaceful one, and then I'll have Ayapo answer. Go ahead, Angela.
I had written that down. I'm taking notes because you said that earlier.
Okay.
Peace often the woman's job, and I was kind of curious about that. I'm not sure if I don't know if I had that, if I've heard that before.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of holding peace in any relationship, the most important place to find peace or anything that you desire is within yourself.
Mm.
So if you want to feel appreciated, then the best place to start is with appreciating and valuing yourself. If you want to feel peaceful, it's good to work on being peaceful
Hmm.
with yourself. And then I just feel like in general, the more work that I am able to do on myself in terms of through my meditation practice, through my prayer practice, through my tarot and metaphysical practice, all of the work that I'm able to do means that I can sometimes, not all the time, but more and more in my relationships with other people, I can notice my stuff and where I'm feeling rigid or where I'm feeling like I want him to be like this and he's
Mhm.
not like this. And then
Mhm.
I can check myself and work on that within myself by journaling or praying or
Mhm.
talking to my girlfriends instead of fussing at him. But it's not 100%. But I feel like my responsibility as a human being is to continue to do work on myself so that I can be a source of peace and compassion, not only for myself, but my
Mm.
family, my community, and Africans worldwide. Like,
Mhm.
so,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mm.
that's all I got.
That's okay. That's okay. Ayapo.
I I think as far as peaceful space goes, there's a lot of times that um, Angela will just want to be to herself so that she can read, or I want to be to myself so that I can write, or she may want to be to herself so she can write or whatever. And it's so important to let a person. And I use the word "let" it just for want of a better term. Let a person have their space. You know, she'll be there when I when I come
Yeah.
back. I'll be
Yeah.
here when she comes back.
Yeah.
And also there's being able to recognize when you can help a person in their peace. And what I mean by that, I get specifically yesterday, I was well, it might have been the day before yesterday. I was trying to upload something. Or there was some story I was trying to work on. I was having a lot of trouble with it.
Mhm.
It was a technical problem, not writing through it. There's some kind of technical problem I was having with it. And Angela saw how how hard of a time I was having with it, and she came up behind me. I'm sitting at the desk working, and she came up behind me and she put her arms around me, around my neck, and she just and
Not like
not like
that.
that. She put her arms around my neck and just leaned into me, and she just told me that it's gonna be all right. It'll happen the way it's supposed to happen, and so on and so forth. And that was very calming and very soothing. I think that's how you bring peace into a place. It's
Mhm.
just like when you walk into a room and you can tell two people have been arguing in the room, and they may have been gone for 20 minutes, and you can tell two people have been there arguing. I think peace works the same way. You can create an atmosphere of peace, and that's what we seek to do in our home. That's what we seek to do with those who we know and who we
Mhm.
meet, because we both like peace. We don't like a whole bunch of mess and confusion.
Mhm.
So,
And then, I mean, I guess I want to piggyback on what you said.
mhm,
When we were early on in our relationship, I was invited. I think, I don't know, I wasn't living in Ohio,
Okay.
but I was spending a lot of time in Ohio. And I was invited to facilitate a tarot workshop.
Mhm.
Um, and my Ayapo is sort of kind of like, from my perspective, he kind of like is kind of like, I don't know if this is the devil or not. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm not really sure. And I was putting together, that's funny, I was putting together a
mhm,
book for the people, the women. I think it was all women, but I was putting together a book for the workshop and putting stuff together and copying and cutting and time was of the essence because the next day we had to be in Detroit and it was like 12:30 at night.
Mhm.
And Apple just jumped in and started helping. And I was like, I'm high strung already. And I was like escalating because time, it's like time is running out, even though like, am I gonna be working all night? And he just came and he helped me.
Mm.
And it really made a big impression on me because I felt like he was for me. He was supportive of me. And that
Mm.
was kind of before we were kind of serious in our relationship because I was in Ohio. But
Mhm.
I think that that just kind of it really made me feel away, and it kind of it calmed me down. But
Mm-hmm.
it also, I think it I felt I got more connected to him as a result of that experience. I remember I just never expected him to help me with that.
Yeah. Yeah. When well, I don't often say this, but I think most people know this about me. But I was married before now, and I got married when I was like 26. My first time being married was like in my 20s. And now I just got married like yesterday. I say yesterday, but we just got married in July. We just got
Nice.
married in July. And so now, so I'm in my I am what, 41 now, and I got remarried at 41. And my first time being married, I was like 26. And it's like two completely different people when I
Hmm.
think of who I am right now, right? And they're like, for one of the things that I know that I had to correct. I tell people this all the time. When I was married before, I had some, I don't want to say I had anger issues, but I would go there. And one night I threw a cup, and it wasn't at my ex-husband, it was at the wall, right? And the cup shattered. And I'm the person where to cool down, I'll go and take a drive. That's kind of what I do. I'll go and say I'll be back, and I'll go for a drive. And I remember going for a drive, and I remember vowing to not allow my anger to ever get me there again. Like I literally like let go of it. I don't know what miraculous thing happened. I don't know if that part of me was just waiting to be free, to be let go of. But ever since that day, I've never done that again, right? Fast forward now, and I'm 41. We've been together about 5 years though, but we just got married in July. And now in my relationship now, if I'm upset about something, because I still have stuff that I'm working on. Like, for example, if I get upset, and my husband will vouch for this, he probably, if he was sitting next to me, would be like shaking his head like this. Oh my God. So I tend to bring up everything that I may have wanted to talk about for the last 6 months. And in that moment, it might be about the kitchen floor. And all of a sudden it becomes about everything else on top of the kitchen floor. So that's something that I'm working on. But one of the things that I always make sure of is um that the person I'm with, no matter how, if we get in an argument or whatever, that I never put them in a position to where they feel, and I use the word threatened lightly because it's very rarely men feel threatened by women, but like where they feel like this woman is violent. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So
Uh-huh.
I'm always aware of that when I'm in conversation. Also, too, I've never been the person to call you out your name. Like if we're going back and forth, I've never really been that. I've never been that person. But I know that there are people like that because we draw for what we know, right? And that's not something that I carry. However, in this relationship, I feel like the peace piece is a big one for me. So if I feel like we have some conflict, and my husband is way more introverted than I am, like when it comes to practical, like he just more withdrawn than me. He's more in the shadows than I would, than I am. And so for me, I always make sure it's not a thing of, oh, don't go to sleep angry or anything like that, but it's a thing of like giving each other space to process,
Hmm.
and then being able to come back and say, okay, what's important, the piece of the maintenance of the relationship, or your little grudge you're trying to hold on to. And I have to make that decision. And then of course that's what makes me go and have a sit down with my husband. And then of recent, you guys, I'm proud of myself for this. Of recent, I said what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to wait if I need to talk about something, and I'm going to write down my bullet points so that I don't end up talking for 2 hours about everything else but what I need to talk about. So that's something that I actually just recently said I'm going to instill as a practice, because I think that drives my husband crazy, to where
Hmm.
it's like, you start bringing up everything in the book. except for what you're here for. So now I am going to start making sure that I write bullet points and then have the conversation where I stay on task and say, this is what's bothering me. And then we can process through it. So I just wanted to put that in there with the peace piece because that's just a way that I try to maintain peace in my relationship. You know, it has to be a deliberate thing, right? Your love for that person and your love for what you guys have has to be more than your anger in that moment. It has to be,
Right, right.
so yeah. So now you guys talk a lot about walking on the beach and so forth. So what are some things that you guys are, are very deliberate about that strengthens your bond in your relationship? What are some of your practices that you guys are very like deliberate about?
I think the fact that we work together a lot
Mm-hmm.
and we build together a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Angela writes, I write,
Okay.
and then she'll write something and then she'll bring it to me to edit. I'll write something, I'll take it to her to edit.
Okay.
If I do some design work, I ask her to look at it and take a look. She'll be like, "Oh, why are you asking me? Well, you don't like my design aesthetic."
That's because I realized I got fired. I didn't know that before.
But it's not that bad. Well, it was.
So now I'm holding a grudge.
Mm-hmm.
but the beautiful thing is that now I'm teaching her the software that I use because I genuinely want her to know it so that she can pull out of her head exactly what it is that she wants. I don't know why you laughing. That's what it is that you want. Because
Mm-hmm.
I can try to get it, but I can't quite get it.
I
But
understand, baby.
I think that all of that, just like you mentioned about me helping with when you have the class coming up, all that kind of stuff binds you together. And again, yeah, we walk every morning and every evening. We had a really nice nighttime walk like that. So it was
Mm-hmm.
that was really nice.
Yeah, usually we walk before the sun goes down, but a few times here recently we've been walking at night, which
Right,
is
Okay.
I like seeing the waves at night.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
uh,
Oh, go ahead, sweetheart.
I like one of the things. This is a new practice for me that I
Mm-hmm.
want to be very intentional about. Is that I noticed that like I'm an outgoing person, but I'm an introvert for the
Yeah.
most part. Like I can
Yeah.
spend time by myself for 5 or 20 days and
That's me.
really
Yep.
interact with anybody
Yep.
else. And Ayapo is not really like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I work with people, and when I work with people, I'm like I'm breathing. And so when I'm finished, I just want to do what I want to do. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to listen to anybody.
Mhm.
And so I'm trying to really consciously give my full attention when, like, I might not be able to give Ayapo 5 hours of undivided attention, but I can give Ayapo 5 minutes of undivided attention. I can give Ayapo, like, and so I'm really trying here recently to be very intentional about that because it's occurred to me that our personality styles are different, and
Yeah.
that is something like when I get finished working, he's like been thinking and has ideas and he thinks he wants to talk about, and
Yes.
I'm like, and so I'm like,
Oh
I just want to
Lord.
like veg out. And so, I'm trying to like kind of find the a good balance for both of us.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that in Ayapo's interaction with me, at least from my perspective, what I noticed is it seems like he's very much like it takes two people to fight. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I
Yeah.
might want to fuss, but I feel like for the most part, he doesn't really want to fuss with me. Not that I want to fuss a lot, but I feel like he can be very intentional about not engaging in,
Yeah.
some of the mess and confusion or something that could escalate into mess and confusion. Sometimes we did, and sometimes I can do the same thing, but I feel
Mhm.
like I definitely noticed it a lot with him, and appreciate it because
Men
when
men
I
are better.
like,
Men
yeah,
are better at that.
Yeah,
Men are definitely better at that. From my observation, men just do a better job at that. I think it's because a lot of times as women, we lean heavily sometimes on the emotional piece, and everything that we're feeling, we want everybody else to feel it right now, and it's like acknowledge my feelings right now. I think men are just, especially if they've been with you for a while, and they sort of know, like, okay, this is what's happening. Like, I know my husband would say he's to the point where he's like, you're gonna have to just, he tells him himself, you're gonna have to let her get it out. That's
Mhm.
it. Like, he tells himself that in his mind. Like, he might want to react to something, but it's like, you're gonna have to just let her kind of get it out. But I feel like, Angela, I'm like you. Like, people don't understand the introverted side of me, but
mm,
I'm very much so. Ugh. When I'm done with something, I'm so serious. When I'm done, I need my space. And you know what's interesting? My husband and I are very similar. We can spend a lot of time alone. So what, like, somebody has to be deliberate about connecting. Because you know what's funny? And I'm he probably watching. Hey boo. But I think, okay, hey, what's one of the things that I realized too is that I like my alone time, right? But it's like, when I'm finished with my alone time, then it's like if he's okay with his alone time and I'm okay with mine, and then I get out of mine before him, then I have an issue with his alone time. But the funny thing is, like, I wasn't bothered by it. I wasn't bothered by it when it was working for me. Oh, Angela be doing that, Ayapo.
I think we both do that sometimes. Yeah, I think we both do that sometimes.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine when it's working for you until it's not, and now it's an
Mhm.
issue, and that's something that I'm working on. But the both of us, we have to work on being deliberate, because we could spend a lot of time alone. Like, we're not one of those clingy couples, and I've never really been like that anyway. But we're just not one of those like clingy couples. I need to go where you go, and what I'm like. We're not like that, so we have to be like really deliberate about spending time alone, and not alone with each other, because we're very comfortable with our solitude, very comfortable. So I know that's a thing as well. But is there a time where you guys can feel when your peace tank is running on E, perhaps? Like, maybe, hey, it's a time for us. We need to reconnect. Something is a little off. It might not even be you're arguing or anything. You could just feel the energy. And are there times that you guys feel that way? And then what do you guys do to kind of recenter your relationship?
I'll let you take that because I genuinely have not experienced that yet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So,
Okay.
but
well, I just think that I don't know if it's like we need to recenter our relationship.
Okay.
Like sometimes people do, I don't think it's that, but I think that sometimes I can be aware, or like the yesterday maybe you even said, look, if you're working on this, so I'll help you work on that, because I was like getting
oh
upset.
yeah,
So that helps to
hmm
keep things, peaceful. That's what I thought of.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I
I
think
mean, but we're in this little itty bitty space. I mean, we
right,
work together. We like in terms of reconnecting. When do we disconnect? I mean,
right.
you see, we right
Which
up
is
on.
Okay. I got what you're saying. Yeah.
you went to the thing today, and see when you do stuff like that, or even if I go to the beach by myself, which is not often if I go by myself, but that's alone time for both of us,
Mhm.
and it's it's nice,
I
and
think she's
then
talking about the opposite,
the
like date
opposite when
nights.
you
Like,
right
oh, we have to go on a retreat
right
once a month, or we
we
have to do.
Okay.
we don't watch as many movies together as we used to.
Mhm.
Okay.
Um, the movies are so crappy that I think
Mhm.
we could go back to that.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we both work so much, and it's not like we're workaholics because our work is so enjoyable to us that well, I know it's enjoyable to me because we're both writers.
But also,
So
like now, like I'm reading a book. I don't know if Hood Mistress,
yeah,
you read her book, and
right,
now I'm reading her book.
right,
Hmm.
And there's another book that we both
right.
read
Longing for
together.
the night.
Longing for the Night is Hood
It's
Mistress's book.
it's a good book.
Mm.
Yeah, so far it's good. But before we read another book, and we kind of talked about that. So it's not the same as watching a movie together, but it's good, I think, to be outside of, like, when you socialize with other people. I feel
Right.
like
Yeah.
me, that's always good and refreshing for a relationship.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we have a writers group once a week. So there's,
Right.
I don't know, that's refreshing to me.
Right.
I personally like feel like when I see, like, he has other people that he has interactions with, like he might be supporting another writer and reading their work and giving them feedback, and I kind of like to see that. I like him to see him doing his own thing. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the things when I had dated before, I'm like, I like people who have their own thing
Their
going.
own
So
thing. Yeah.
he had this extensive video collection, which I absolutely thought was ridiculous on one level, but on another level, I'm like, that's his passion. That's what he's really into. And he was really into it. And I kind of appreciated that. Like, I feel like it's healthy for somebody to have, and to me, that makes them more attractive, because then we have something, you can bring something to the table that I don't bring to the, when we get together and talk, there's something to talk about. If we do
Yeah.
everything together, we
I,
already know everything.
I do want to say this, and this is, I don't, and this isn't really connected to any subject per se, uh, but I feel like I have mastered this one thing, which is if I'm upset with Angela, and I think
Mm-hmm.
and Angela knows I do this, is that I very deliberately think of start thinking about everything that I love about her.
Hmm.
I
That's
start
a good.
deliberately
That's a good thing.
thinking about everything
Mm-hmm.
that I adore about her and why I married her and so on. And it's kind of like hearing. You can hear, or it's like listening. You can hear a thousand things at once, but you can only listen to one thing at a time. And if you are if you're holding thoughts of love towards someone and what you love about them, what makes you laugh, and what you can't hold being angry with them at the same time. You can't. At least for me, you can't do both at the same time.
Yeah.
So if I
I
have to
agree.
pick one, I'm going to pick that, and I do that very, very deliberately.
Mm-hmm.
And to that end, I can't stay mad at her.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. When Mancho and Washa was here, that was one of the things that I said. When you're upset with the person you're with, they may have done something that make you feel a type of way. Maybe you even feel hurt by it, and that wasn't their intention. And I think the key is that for me, what helps me, you go over in your head, who is this person to me,
Right.
right? But they deliberately hurt me, and if your answer is no, then you start to focus on, okay, then we clearly have a misunderstanding, right?
Right.
Because if you could
Right.
approach things as a misunderstanding, you're coming to the situation with hands up already. Like, I'm not ball fist, but hands up, right? I'm not here to fight. I'm here to understand where the misunderstanding is. But for me, it takes a process of, would that person deliberately do that? And the answer is no. When you know the person you're with and you know
Right.
they genuinely love you. So I think your approach, where you going over in your head all the things that you do love about the person, and you often find that what you love about them always outweighs. It's always more pros than cons. It's
Hmm.
always, because you're like, this no itty bitty thing. Like, I suck at recycling. Y'all don't judge me. I suck at recycling, okay? My husband does not. And sometimes I would throw some stuff in the recycle bin that doesn't belong there. Okay. Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, he's uptight about that. Okay. But you could tell now, he even though it bothers him, he also know that she's not doing this to get under my skin. She genuinely think that this thing belong in the she genuinely believes that this belongs in the recycle. So now what he'll do is, if I'm around, he might bring it to me, and he'll like say something smart. Or if I'm in the kitchen, he's like, really? Really? So because he knows, like, why would I get worked up over something as if she's deliberately doing this to annoy
Right.
me? You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of that. I wanted to ask you guys, Do you guys think that where you guys live right now has helped in the peace y'all have in in your relationship? If so, how? Because I know Ayapo, you have you have your feelings about the US of A. So
Oh yeah.
so yeah, like do you guys think that the life you're living right now away from here has helped a lot in how you guys connect with each other?
I I personally think that it helps. I think it helps in the same way that distancing yourself from any kind of stress
That's what I'm
Okay.
or any kind of
Mm-hmm.
harm can only help.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think that we could still, even if we were still in the U.S., we could still have like a strong relationship, a healthy relationship. It would
Yes.
just take more work. And I
Mm.
and I personally believe that we were just talking about this yesterday. I think
saying.
I think that, or was it? I think it's this morning when we passed that crane and that dog. And I think that the United States vibrates a certain way.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
Uh,
Liberated Soul. Mm-hmm.
there's been so much bloodshed, so much innocent bloodshed, so much injustice, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
That there's a that
Vibration.
yeah, there's a vibration about it where, like, when we were walking on the beach this morning, we were looking at this crane, beautiful crane, and
Mm-hmm.
this dog was walking past the crane. I was like, okay, let's see what happens when this dog walks past this crane. The dog walked past the crane. The crane walked up a little bit, but it didn't fly off. It didn't take off.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the animals here are like that. They,
Okay.
it's like peace,
Okay.
as in the United States, there's all this, and I think that that also transfers to people. Plus, you're eating meat from traumatized animals, and you're eating that trauma and all. I believe that.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
I think just in general, the more that each person is able to love and accept themselves, the better, the more peace that they have as they move through the world. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like the more, the more separated you can get from the system of white supremacy, the more separated you can get from processed foods, the more separated
Okay.
you can get from anything that demoralizes you, anything that demeans you, anything that is vile or violent to you is a blessing. It's good. It's going to be
Okay.
helpful to you and your family, your community, and everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I definitely think that like I went to an event or a gathering today. Thank you for having me, Mama Viola. And I think that what I noticed with expats, or I don't know if expats or refugees, Mama Ivy, is that there is a level of peace, maturity, confidence, clarity that seems to be a little different from what I typically encounter in the States.
hmm
So, and I
Yeah,
think,
that
well, the more peace you get, the better.
right,
So,
yeah. Any distance that you can get from, and not. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like you can't be in the United States.
right.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like anything that's toxic. The more you remove yourself from it, the more clear you can become. Now, me, when we first got here, um, I wanted to be I wanted to be a writer all my life, and I have written the first three chapters of Melanin like 4 years. No, don't get that thing. It's like 4 years ago, and like four years ago,
Ah.
and I wrote the first three chapters, and that was it. Got here, and we had what we were here like a year, a little more than a year.
and what
It
happened?
wasn't even a year. I finished the novel, wrote a collection of short stories,
That was
wrote a novella, and wrote a second novel.
Right. That was 3 months in.
Yeah.
After we were here for 3 months, we went away. And when we came back, he like, I'm gonna write three
Um,
pages on melanin a day. And then 3 pages became 5 pages. Then I wrote 800 pages on melanin today. And then it was like, Paradigm Point was finished and What Up the Cargo was finished. But I just want to say about this book because when we were, I love a writer, I love creative people, I love artists. So when we were getting to know each other, and I had already told the woman from YouTube that I met, I think I have a crush on Ayapo. Ayapo said, "Hey, can I send you some of my writing?" I knew he was a cartoonist, and I knew
Oh.
he was working on a book on the history of Black people in cartoons
Cartoon animation.
and animation. I thought the chapters were going to be on that book, but they were the first chapters in this book.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm in trouble because he is a really good writer. Like I already was liking him before, but it was like, it's over now. I'm not like him too much. So, I mean, not too much, but I mean, I was like, it's a wrap. Like I'm done for. It's I don't even know what to tell you. But yeah, melanin was. But yeah, it was 3 months in.
Now let me say, now you see that she has this pencil in her hand, right?
Did
Now
I say?
now the woman know I'm cockeyed, so you can't really tell it because I can force my eyes to stay straight. And she just keeps swinging. I'm like, she's trying to get rid of my one good eye, number one. I think one of the most important things I told her, I said, when you're dealing with folks that's cockeyed, what?
Look into the eye. Just looking at you.
That's, that's
But you didn't tell me that. That was on one of his videos. If you go to his channel, I think it's called Laugh Attack. I was cracking up when I was because when you deal with cockeyed people, I'm serious. I'm like, I don't really
you don't know
know
which eye
what
to
to
look
do.
in.
So even now,
So,
I use that. Like I'd be like, well, Ayapo said, looking,
right,
looking at you. So that's what I do.
Guys, I'm putting the Ayapo's YouTube channel in the chat.
so yeah, I'm
Guys, make sure
cockeyed
you
like
guys
that.
go over there and subscribe and support. Okay.
I'll put it down, but my fingers are still flying.
All right, that's all right.
Like
That's all right. They're definitely that pencil, but yeah, like I said, I'm cockeyed, and I know we're not even talking about that, but yeah, but I would like be shooting off like that, and the other one looking at you. When you're talking to somebody cockeyed, look in the eye that's looking at you. That's all. Just remember, that's the rule of thumb. And so that's well, that's the truth. But
What happens? What happens if you try to follow the other eye, Ayapo? What happens?
like I saw my video, you be going like this all the time. Like, you can't follow that.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
So yeah, just look in the eyes looking at you. You be all right.
Do you guys? Do any of you guys have children?
I have four.
Okay, and Angela, no.
I don't have any children by birth.
Okay, but Ayapo, I'm assuming
And
your
they're all
children are.
grown. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm
Go ahead.
assuming your children are grown.
Yes, they are.
Okay, okay. Because I was gonna ask a question along those lines. Like, when you guys are dealing with the everyday stresses of life, and that happens, you guys are both artists. I'm sure there's some frustrations that may come out, because artists, you are real sensitive about your stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you guys help each other? Like, I guess what I'm thinking of is there ever a time where you're able to help each other through something that you may feel they're being a little too hard on themselves? They need some life spoken into them, some encouragement. How do you guys pick up on that if like say the person is not vocalizing it? How do you pick up on that, and how do you go about encouraging each other during those times?
You were not.
Yeah, well, you do. Angela does that for me all the time, and she has taught me relaxation techniques. She's taught me meditation techniques.
Mm.
Um, and she is such a positive person. Like right up there, she has like all these affirmations written that we can read. She writes affirmations, Um, there have been times I have called her and asked her to just do
Mm,
affirmations with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
you haven't done
it's
that in a
just
while.
right. Right. It's but it's so important. But like I said, it's like when you came the other day and put your arms around me. It was just telling me, it's gonna work out. And we do that for each other. I think her more so than me.
Mm-hmm.
We try to always encourage each other and lift each other up. And for me, it's just so important that we're building together. And she's always talking about, oh, that's because you're a Libra. Well, that's it's important for me to build with her, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like the perfect person to build with. So that's
I actually think that that is one of the challenges. Like, I think that being supportive, like, okay, so one of the things that you said before is like, oh, we're just having a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think in relationships, it's not exactly a misunderstanding, but it's just that we're two different people and we
Yeah.
see things differently and we have a difference of opinion. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's difficult to, we're not the same person, but sometimes it's hard to hold the same space
right.
when you have a difference,
Very true.
when you come up against those differences.
Right.
And I feel like it's a challenge to, it can be a challenge to be supportive of
Mm-hmm.
someone in their difference. It can, I feel like that's like in our relationship, I think that like being like, that's what unconditional love is.
Yeah.
Unconditional love and support. And I think it's kind of easy to say it, but I think that it's hard, it is challenging to put it into practice. And I think it is a practice, like it's an ongoing
Right.
work or play or practice.
Mm-hmm.
I will.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this though. Like I had said at the very beginning, Angela is that way with me, but and that's not saying that I'm not special to her, but she's that way with everybody.
Mm, that's important.
Always seeking
Mm-hmm.
the best
Mm-hmm.
for people. Always seeking the best.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm blessed.
Oh, well, let me go to the comments real quick. Pause for 1 second. Viola said, "I love the maturity in their relationship." Um, then we have Assurance. He says, "Black African power, peace
Hear
to
that.
you." Maat says, "Oh, you guys are very sweet, by the way." Mawusi said, "The wireless." Oh, he was talking to the wireless woman. Let me see what else we have in here. Oh, wireless woman to you, Ayapo. She was saying, check out studies and Urim and Tumim. Changes your perspective on tarot and reading. The lot is cast in the lap, but the decision is from the Lord. I guess she was speaking to what Angela was saying, that you weren't sure if what she was into was,
Yeah, my,
good.
my my attitudes toward that have changed. That was like this was what 3 years ago. Yeah, so my attitudes on that changed. And by the way, shout out to my aunt Speaks. That was an awesome live stream last night,
Yes,
and I
yes,
really and I really appreciate it. I know a lot of other people appreciate it.
yes.
And just
The
like she said at the very beginning, I ain't gonna be before you long.
and you looking like you alive.
Church folk
Yes,
understand, or ex-church folk understand. We know.
yes, we know. Yes, it was a really good live stream yesterday. I did let make sure I sent a message and let her know that. Ayoka says, I'm writing a story that focuses on a past love. Although it didn't work, it was still genuine and beautiful. That takes a certain level of maturity to even speak in that way, about like past love experiences. I love stories like that, yeah, I just do. Liberated soul, much love, Hanifa panel and chat. Hope everyone is okay. So I am going to be wrapping up with you
Can I
guys.
say
Go
this?
ahead.
Can I say
Yeah,
this real
sure,
quick?
sure. Go ahead.
I Something just come to mind. I wanted to say it before, and then another thing about when I met Angela, and I think the same happened with me, is when you meet somebody and they got nothing good to say about their exes.
Um,
Oh
And
yeah.
that's that's kind of a red flag.
Yeah.
She didn't have she nor I had anything bad to say about our exes. We wasn't like dogging them out and saying they was blah trifling blah 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 blah, all that stuff. And I just it's something about the maturity of that I found important and of value. So anyway.
But when we first started dating, I was kind of confused because that's one of the ways that I have gotten to know people.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your past, but what's what I try to get to know and hear how they think about what has happened in the past, and
Right.
how they what type of autopsy they've done, and how, oh, I made this mistake, but I was able to
Mhm.
grow in this way, and I can look and see if I think they're sincere, or
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but I remember feeling kind of like at some points, especially early on, like you're like, the past is the past. That's how it sounded to me. And I'm kind of
Right.
like, I'm trying to get a grasp on who you are, sir. So I remember that was kind of like a source of like a little bit of stress for me. There were two sources of stress. That
But you
was
have, you
late.
have to remember too. I'm the type that I'm like, if you got nothing nice, if you don't have something
Yeah,
nice
you
to say,
don't say
then
anything at
don't say
all.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just don't go around. And I would, but I would always try to at least say the best
Mm,
if I could say that. But I
mm.
didn't want to say anything negative.
But that was kind of stressing me
So
out a little bit.
yeah,
Like
but I couldn't. Yeah,
what
I didn't want to go there. So
yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know. So I was kind of like, so how have you processed it? Like,
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
you going from where you at? So, and then the other thing that was a stressor for me, because we met online, and
Mhm. Shout out
because
to Sahil.
we met online, and not we didn't meet in a dating app or anything, but
Mhm.
because we met online and we would like talk on the phone and stuff like that. Um, I didn't really, I'm like, I don't really know who he is. I don't know his people. I don't know anybody who knows him. And that was very stressful for me. I had never had that experience before.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
that I dealt with before was like a part of my community. And I don't consider, I'm less on, like I used to be more on YouTube, but even when I was on YouTube, I'm like, I don't know these people. I might be like, hi, how you doing? But I'm like, I don't know.
you know,
They can, you sitting in front of a screen, you could be
I,
anybody.
I never told you this. For the first time we met,
Mhm.
I actually considered like the guy that used to talk to at the video store, that white guy. I was gonna have him.
What?
That's even funny. That's like when we were about to come on, he was like, "Oh, it'll be funny. Just leave the seats empty." So he
I
was
know.
try to have somebody come and meet me instead of.
Yeah, this white guy.
And this was a source of stress, but not a big source of stress. I know you know.
Uh-huh.
But I was telling you the other day, he had sent me a picture, and in
Mhm.
the picture, he looked really short to me. And it kind of freaked me out. I'm like, wow. I mean, I didn't realize he was this short. And then
Mhm.
I kind of talked myself through it. I'm like, well, if you like this guy, if you like his, his personality, his heart, like, Angela, don't trip. But it kind of stressed me out
Right.
initially.
But we did all right because I actually, how some people are taller sitting down than standing up because they're
Yes.
short. I actually only come to like right there on her. So, but when if we were standing up, I would.
Angela, why are you laughing?
Because that's not true. Not that it matters. Like I'm like I'm not really like I really deal with how I feel about a person. It's not like if I don't like somebody, I don't. You could tell me they cute all day and they ugly to me. If I like somebody, then it's like I feel like everybody is beautiful in their way, and when I like somebody, it's like I tend to see their.
Right.
So it wouldn't I don't think it would have mattered in the long term if he was like I'm only 5'4". So it's most of the people that I deal with, most of the men that I've dealt with, I think I dated one guy who was shorter than me. I've never it would be hard. It's hard to find people who are smaller than men who are smaller than me.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait. Angela, what's your sun sign?
Oh, my son is in Cancer. My
Okay.
moon is in Scorpio,
Oh my.
and my rising is Leo, but kind of Virgo-ish.
What about Ayapo?
We don't know his time of
Yeah,
birth,
right.
but I feel like
Oh.
he has a lot of water in his chart. And I think there's
Oh.
some Aquarian
And in my
energy.
head.
There's some Aquarian energy going on too. So
I know. Listen, it seems like you guys talk a lot of smack. I gotta love it. I love it. I'm gonna be wrapping up with you guys shortly. Oh my gosh, I can't. You guys have me cracking up just now. Why? Ayapo told a whole lie just now, talking about he only come right here to you. Like,
right.
but I love this. I love this so much. All right, so let me go and see. Oh,
Yes,
Oni.
women
Hey,
never stay
Oni.
single long.
Huh?
I got off
The
it.
wireless woman.
Yeah, she says, "Hey, Cancer woman, we never stay single long." Is that true?
That's been my experience.
Oh, okay.
Cancer.
Oh, Oni said Cancer rule.
But I
Okay.
don't know about other women. Now I'm just hearing that. I'm like, oh, okay,
Right.
maybe that's like something Cancerian. I never thought about that.
And I, I don't know. I say this without sounding like a shameless plug, but Angela wrote. She's writing a story on a platform called Kindle Vella. It's
Uh,
called 365
dates.
Dates. Because at one
Oh,
time, that was her goal.
I set a goal to go on 365 days. So it's loosely based on me, but it's not really autobiographical. But I just thought it was I just think I'm fascinated by love and dating and
yeah.
relationships, how we come to love ourselves, the process that people get, any bit of freedom from, racism, white supremacy, or any bit of love for themselves if they're dark. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm really like just fascinated by it. How do couples get together? How do they stay together?
Right.
So
Yeah. Do you guys have couples around you that you I don't want to say pull from, but like you learn from? Because I'm listening to you guys, like I'm listening to the both of y'all talk, and just some like practical tools. I've already heard a few just having a conversation with y'all. Do y'all have like couples around you where you're at where you're able to like draw from them things that you can, make practical, or maybe they're even able to show you something that you guys may have had a blind spot to in your relationship, or you guys are wrong other couples
But
that are able to do that?
not, not
You guys
really.
might be that couple, by the way, but I'm just asking.
Yeah, not really.
but
Not,
just like
yeah, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, I'm always trying to figure out how to learn and grow and improve. So this may sound really crazy to say, but I watch Korean dramas, and one of the things they always do is like, "I'm by your side," or there's some like way that they
Yes.
translate it,
Hey,
and
Annie.
like that, like I feel like that hugging and like you don't have to
Thank
cry
you,
alone
Viola.
is like something like,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to that idea that sometimes you can feel alienated, you can feel alone, and
Yes.
so that's
Yes.
like kind of the benefit of. So I feel like I don't know if Korean dramas is a coach, but but I read and I'm always trying to learn something new when I talk to people, or
Yeah.
I'm always
Yeah.
trying to pick up some tip or tidbit or something to help me to be
Mm-hmm.
better. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not necessarily like you try to like, emulate the relationship, because no two people are made alike, right? So you guys are you guys, right? And then that couple may be that couple, but it may be something that they're doing, like you just mentioned, 365 dates, you could meet a couple that they're deliberate about their date nights, and maybe you guys haven't like incorporated that in your relationship as well, yet, and you're like, wow, that's a good idea. I think that's something that we should probably try to incorporate, not become them, but just something that you can, try in your relationship, maybe something that's missing. And I think that a lot of us who are in relationships, I think we need community of people who are in healthy relationships as well. I think oftentimes that's missing. There's a lot of couples who are in isolation. There's also the protectiveness of our relationships as well, to where you want to be very careful how you talk about your significant other to others. Like that's especially if these are people that you guys are going to continue to be around. So we all know the stories of you don't talk about your partner so bad to your family that they show up to the family function and everyone is giving them the cold shoulder. And then
Right,
right, and
right.
y'all walk through it and y'all moved on, but the family hasn't. And kind of like what type of dynamic that creates. So I think it's important for people to who are in relationships, healthy relationships, to help cultivate that health in your relationship is to be surrounded by other couples. At least have at least two couples
Hmm.
in your circle, that you can be able to healthy again, be able to talk to, because sometimes people have their own issues in their relationship and they will try to project that into you and Ayapos, right? Because it's like, well, ain't nobody that happy because they're miserable. They think you guys just hiding it. You guys just pretending. Y'all are not that happy. So even being careful with that as well. Have you guys ever experienced that? Oh,
Well, there are several there are well, there are like several people who are in the chat right now who know us personally, live here, and they know. Like if we were on here being phony, they would know. Um, and so they know that the way that we present ourselves, that's the way we are.
Mm.
And I was just sitting here thinking about the fact that you know a couple doesn't have to agree on everything, but we're both moving in the same direction. We're both pro-black. We both
yeah,
love black people. We both
right.
love being black. We both have a concern for our people. We both don't celebrate holidays, like
Mhm.
Thanksgiving or we don't celebrate stuff like that. And it would cause a problem if I was like, oh well, I'm all into Thanksgiving and Christmas, and she wasn't, or vice versa. Or if just anything, any of these points that are major, major points that you need to be walking along the path together, moving towards something. Well, my goal is to be a millionaire, and and her goal is to just be at peace. She could be broke and be at peace,
Hmm.
and that would be a problem.
Or
So
you want to be more deeply involved with the system of white supremacy and we got to vote. And I'm like, I'm withdrawing. I opt out. It's important. And that I
right,
think that comes with age and maturity, having similar values. But I also
right,
want to kind of talk about I'm not opposed to having relationships with other couples. Um,
oh yeah,
and I like one of the challenges in my first marriage, from my perspective, is the isolation that we
Yes.
experienced. We were
Yeah.
dealing with some stuff and we were isolated. And it wasn't until we got divorced that we were going through the process of divorce that we started talking about it with other people. And some
Hmm.
people were like, well, you should have told me. I could have helped in this way. I could have helped in that way. Whether they could or not, I don't know. But it didn't occur to me to seek help. I have had a friend who has sought help from me, and I appreciate it and I value it. But I think it's a balance. You have to be careful
Yes.
who you talk to, because
Yes.
I am rooting for her and I'm rooting for her marriage. She has told me a lot of negative things about her husband, but I understand that she's coming to me to vent. So I don't know that man. And so I'm rooting for him too. And if they can be together and be happy, I want them to be together and be happy. I'm for black love. I don't want to tear her down. I don't want to tear him. Like if she done chose to marry the man, so I want
Yeah.
to work it. If I can support them in working it out, I don't go to church, but I'm like, well, did you talk to your pastor? Does he do counseling? I mean, because I'm like, shoot, y'all figure, come on, let's make this work.
That's a
Um,
good point.
so
That's
I
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
I,
that's a good point because it brings to the forefront, and I'm gonna get to some of these comments real quick. It doesn't matter if you believe like they do. What you're really asking her is, have you used the tools that are at your disposal? That's
mm,
really what you're asking. Like you're like, I don't go to church, but shoot, isn't that what pastors do? Can you tap into that? You know what I'm saying?
right.
Uh,
right.
right. Did you call
Whatever
your
support you can find.
yeah, yeah, that's a very good point. Did you call your prayer circle and have them pray for you? Because there's a level of consolation that comes with people praying for you. I don't care what faith you're in. You know what I'm saying? Just that idea of connecting with others who is, trying to bring about a better outcome. There's that connection of gathering, where people are on the same accord. There's a healing element to that as well. This is why women have a lot of like sister circles and these type of things, because there's a healing component to fellowship that people
Mhm.
tend to miss. So being able to even say, yeah, I don't go to church, but girl, call your pastor. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
that's a level of maturity that's necessary. As well, I'm gonna go to the chats real quick because some people are in here soliciting some help specifically from Angela. We about to get there. My ad says definitely hard to find couples that you can connect with. I agree. One of the things I think it's important, because I have single friends and I have friends who are also coupled, right? Um, for me, I think it's important for, if you talk to someone, to talk to people who love both of you guys, not just you, because the what you call it, the council is going to be very one-sided, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like, I'm going to go to my friend is going to have a biased perspective, because my friend may not be as connected to my husband as they are to me. So for them, they're my
Exactly.
friend, they're not his friend. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think if you meet couples where y'all build and cultivate a relationship where everyone has a care for each other, and it's not a biased one where I only really care about Angela. Girl, what he done did. He
Right.
hurt you, you should leave. Because that's, you get what I'm saying? It's a very biased perspective. And then
Hmm.
Angela also being able to say, yo, she's saying what she's saying because she's venting. Right? That's it. And not really being able to respond and say, girl, you need to leave him, because for you, you're like, I'm looking at the whole picture. I want the best for their entire unit, not just her. And there's a certain level of maturity that comes with that, in my opinion. And those are the type of friends you want to tap into, and my wireless woman say, Angela, hook your cancer sister up. Husband number three is looking for me.
All
Yeah,
right.
if you know anybody. Okay. Annie says, hey, sir, he'll speak network. Hey, Annie. She says, hey to my aunt. My aunt says, yeah, can't vent to everyone. I agree.
You
To
cannot vent
Yeah,
everyone.
anyway.
yeah, yep. The wireless woman says, honey, if you tell me you're unhappy, I'm gonna tell you to leave. My Venus is in Leo.
Flip, flip, flip.
Yeah, but no, Angela, you made a really good point though. It's like we talk about love a lot, but I have an issue with the Western concept of love. Like there's a level of possessiveness that I can't get with. I just can't.
Mhm.
I think that we're taught to love in a very possessive manner, to where we actually think by squeezing the life out of something is loving it. By imprisoning something or
Right.
someone, it's loving it. And I always use the example of, I would take my morning walks, and on the whole trail it had just a bunch of flowers, just a bunch of flowers. And I was just walking, doing my regular. If I see a real pretty flower, I'll try to pick it. And Spirit was like, do you have to kill that thing just because you love it?
Right.
Spirit was like, why you
They
gotta
used to
kill
see a pretty flower and be like, "Oh, you cute,
that?
Right.
cute
Yes,
girl."
I got convicted. And then when I went for my morning walk the next day, I still was tempted to pick the flower. And I remember Spirit is like, we already talked about this, right? You can see something, admire its beauty, but it doesn't mean you have to kill it, because that's when now you cross over into possessiveness, right?
Right.
To where, we love in a way that we don't make room for the person to evolve into who they are to be evolving into. We're busy trying to make them act and talk and walk and think the way we do. And I don't think a
Mhm.
lot of us know how to love differences. We're very trained in loving sameness. Right? We're trained in loving uniformity of thought. We're trained in that. That's school. That's school. That's the educational system. Everybody, when I grew up, we all wore the same uniforms. Like, you're trained in that. But once something different comes in, we struggle with how to love someone that may not think the way we do, that may not show up the way we want them to show up. That's a struggle for
Right.
most of us. And I think it's something really wrong with the Western concept of like love and the way our mind is trained to interpret love. I think it's actually very problematic. That's my little tangent. Go ahead,
I
Angela.
agree.
I want to say two things. My mom is in the chat, and there are okay. So one thing that I got from her that I feel is really important is in when you when you're
Yes.
with someone
Mhm.
and you're in a
Very
committed
true.
relationship, can you love and accept that person just the way that they are now, even if they never change?
Right.
And if you can, then I feel like, that's a solid foundation for moving on. If the way that you feel about them is that they have a lot of potential, and if they do this or if they change in this way, if they take this path, woo, I'm gonna really love them, then it's kind of a little rocky. And I felt like that was kind of an important, that's something that I have checked in with myself
Yes.
about a lot. And
Yeah.
then Baba Millard, may he rest in peace. I remember this is in some of my writing, but he had on my their wedding picture, my mom and his wedding picture, a little note that said, "Do something every day to make this work."
Right.
And I don't know if I do
I
something
like that.
every day to make this work, but I really like this idea. It's like little things build up, little things add value. Whether it's do something every day to figure out how to love yourself more,
Yes.
connect more with yourself. That's going to help you to be, a more use to other people. But
Right.
also just, in our relationships with other people, whether it's our children, our husband, our
Yeah.
parents, how can we add value? And the Kwanzaa season is coming up. And is it Kaumba? One of the principles, I can't remember which one it is, but it's
Mhm.
this idea of leaving things better than when you got
Then
there.
you,
I feel
yeah.
like leaving people better than when you got there.
Right.
If you can add some value, try to add some value. And I think it works in marriages and relationships too.
Right.
My ex-husband used to say that, and I used to think it was so condescending until I grew my behind up. I was in my 20s until I grew up, and I know what he was saying. Where he exactly what you just said. He would always say, because he's on his third marriage right now, and he would always say, why should I, if I have more love to give, who am I to withhold it? Right? Because I would be like, you're open to be married again? What? I used to be like that too. And he'll be like, I still got more love to give. Why would I not? And then he will also say one of the things that he that made him feel okay was he left that person better than he met them,
Mm.
right? He gave, like, he was able to add something to their life even if it didn't work out. And I think that's a key. And then you also talked about loving someone. Like, you don't have to be with someone to love them. That's the other thing too. Like, if I love you, and I think you guys was talking earlier, like, look, me loving you can also look like, wow, this person, we can't figure this out, and this person is absolutely miserable to the point it's affecting their health. You start to look at that and you're like, I love you so much that I'm willing to just quote unquote set you free. That's not something that comes to people's minds when it comes to relationships either, right? Because you don't want to see another person suffer. That's a part of it that we don't want to talk about, because we get stuck on the forever piece, forever and ever and ever. We get stuck there. And I think we got to be so careful with that. Like, you can't think that love is that rigid and constraining. Like, love provides space for people to grow, and sometimes that means growing away from each other. And that, look, even saying this to you guys, I'm having a difficult time actually saying it, because it's just the way we're trained as it pertains to love. You know,
Happily ever after.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. But
Romance writer, happily ever after.
yeah,
My,
only
my,
said
my forever love.
You are.
exactly, my forever love, Angela. And oh my God. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone. Only says it's like Angela said, when you are for Black love, those are the couples you want to connect with. So I
Mhm.
agree with that, because they care about you guys as a whole. You are correct. I think this person was trying to say, Kuchi
Kuji
Chakalia.
Chagalia. But
Kuji
Kuji
Chagalia.
Chagalia is self
It's
determination. That's my
self-determination. If they could,
favorite.
Right.
look, my husband will be embarrassed of me right now, because God knows. Kawumba? Is it Kawumba?
It might be Kuumba. I think Kuumba is creativity, but I have to look at how I.
I know. The
Yeah.
chart is over here. Hold
Yeah.
on. I'll go
Oh,
get
you
it.
It's
gotta
all
go
right.
get the chart.
Look, he gonna make sure we.
It's not the key word, it's like the description after it. Oh, I don't have it here.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just.
Kuumba is creativity. Imani is faith. But I
Yes,
think it's cool.
Imani's
But
faith.
it's like, but anyway, whatever Kwanzaa principle or just life principle, trying to
Mhm.
add value. When people see you coming, are they like, oh Lord? Or are they like, oh? Or when they see you leaving, are they like, oh yay? Or are they like,
Right.
oh? You know, like trying to be the person who's adding value where people are happy to see you go
Right.
and sad to see you leave instead of like, bye, don't come back here no more.
Yeah, yeah. So
You said that
Ene
backwards.
says,
Oh,
yeah, my aunt says Kawumba. Wait, my aunt say it is Kawumba.
Kuumba.
okay.
Yeah. And it says, I agree that when you truly love someone, you have to be ready to watch them be loved as a spectator. Oh Lord, as a spectator. That's something that I know it's really hard for most of us. And again, that's the way that we're trained. From a very, very early age. And it's a unlearning. For me, I know for a fact, my concept and how my understanding of love is right now is completely different than in my 20s, right? I tell people I'm very non-traditional in my thinking as it pertains to relationships. This need to possess each other is a problem and it's unhealthy. And I think the people who
Very.
understand that have definitely way more free flowing relationships. Were you saying something, Ayapo?
Oh no, what I was just agreeing with what you were saying. And
Mm-hmm.
even if you take love off the table, just totally take it out of the equation. Maturity is going to tell you, I don't want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with me because they're going to be miserable and they're going to make me miserable.
Right.
Why do I want to be with someone who does not want to be with me? It doesn't make any sense
Yeah.
Because
unless there's something going kind of
Ride or die. We in it for life. I
right.
one of my sisters used to say, I will be a widow before I will be a divorcee. And that always kind of,
ooh,
I don't want to hear it because
All right.
when she was having marital problems, I'm like, if something happened, I don't want to hear it.
oh my gosh, wow,
Right.
that's deep. That she, wow. But my aunt says she is not spectating, y'all. Okay, not happening. Okay, and look, I'm about to skip to her comment after that. She simply says, "We in it for life." Okay,
Right,
we
right,
ride until the wheels fall off of this joint. Okay.
Right.
Ayoka says Iyapo is so silly. They both are.
She does.
Iyapo,
She knows me.
wait, Oni says there's love in general, and then there's expression of love. It's varied. Now we're talking about observing how they love and then see if it suits you. This includes love languages, now open to differences as well.
Right.
Okay. Okay. And it says you two are awesome, Ayapo and Angela. And we already know my aunt says she in it for life.
In
Okay.
it for life.
and I mean,
What
it's
are you
kind
talking
of
about?
it's,
That you in it for life. That's like I don't know. People get that for murder in some states.
Oh my gosh.
like it's a sentence, like you've been.
Yeah.
But it's, I
But
mean, I feel
I
like
know what
it's a
she means.
balance because
Yeah.
there is something to be said for commitment because
That's
Yes,
sometimes
right.
it's
that's
ups
really
and
what it
downs
is.
and
Yeah.
it's rough.
Right.
And so you can't be like, well, you unhappy today, so bye, we over. But I also don't feel like we have to wait until you're miserable and ready to kill yourself before we can move on. I mean, I feel like it's finding a healthy balance.
Right.
So,
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. With what my art is saying, I think my artist her focus is more like we committed to this thing. So any problems that arise, we gonna work
Right.
we
it
gonna
out
ride
because
it out
the
And
commit.
together.
that's
Yeah, the
I
commitment is there. Hmm.
and that to be honest, that's how I perceive. And Angela knows that. That's how I perceive things.
Yeah,
Is you that you can work through anything if you're committed. And
if you're
no, I'm not
committed.
I'm not for somebody being miserable with me. But if something can be worked through, then I think that I'll put it like this: every avenue should be exhausted before you would call it quits. Like every
Hmm.
avenue.
And I kind of feel like marriage, whether marriage is serious, and I feel like our families and our communities rest on, like, this is the core of building. Without this everything radiates from this.
Right.
One and one together come together to make two, and then from two everything.
Right.
We can. So yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
with
she said my aunt is saying it's an intentional work. Growing up in love takes two people working intentionally every day, which is what we're talking about. She's talking about commitment. And I think what Ayapo said, like you enter in saying there's a commitment there to work towards. So anything that arises in the relationship, if the at the foundation you have, we are committed to this, right? And the purpose of this, then you it makes it a little easier to work through stuff, to be
right.
honest. It really does.
Maybe
But if somebody not trying to be there, I'm not about to be your jailer. I am setting you free.
right.
It's a
But
balance.
I will say this because all men. Now this is what I have read. All men
Hi,
are
Cheryl.
supposed to marry at least 16 times.
What?
Yeah, yeah,
What are
four.
you
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah, four better, four worse, four
Wait,
rich.
wait, back up. Ayapo, did you say men should be married 16 times?
I
Yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The wives are supposed to have four better, four worse, four richer, and four poorer.
See, this is
I'm
good.
saving
I
the
got
rich
the
ones
four.
for
All
last.
right. This is your husband's sense of humor. My aunt and I, we were in. Is it Ayapo? No, it wasn't Ayapo in my aunt's chat yesterday. I don't know if it was you or somebody else that said, what's his name? Moses, had a prescription or something
And he's
like
got
that.
two tablets.
And he had two.
Oh,
Yeah. So my aunt and I, right? We talked about Ayapo's when Ayapo starts to troll. How hilarious it is. So this is one of those moments right now.
Okay, I'm gonna leave y'all alone.
Oh God! Look, my aunt is laughing. She said Ayapo said it with a straight face too.
right, right.
I saw Cheryl. I hope that she heard. Hey, Cheryl Lee. I just want to make sure I acknowledge her. Thanks for coming over and hanging out with us. She says peace and bliss, Queen and chat. Thanks for passing through and showing some love, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. I'm not gonna hold you guys any longer. Is there anything you guys want to say to the listening audience before I let you go? Just about approaching relationships and maintaining peace within your relationship that maybe you haven't said as yet.
I'll go first. I consider myself a high value man. I consider my wife a high value woman. I consider our relationship high value. We don't have a lot of money. We live very very modestly, but we love each other. We respect each other. We honor each other. And for me, I think that's the if you have a solid foundation like that, then you can build on it.
Hmm.
And my last advice is if you're talking to somebody cockeyed, look in the eye that's looking at you.
If you don't take nothing else away from this conversation, you need to understand if you meet a cockeyed person, look them in the eye that is staring
Yeah.
directly at you. Thank you, Ayapo, because I'm going to take that with me as well. Go ahead, Angela.
I mean, I already kind of said it, but
Okay.
everything that you said, I feel like it starts with you. Figure out how to love yourself, figure out how to honor yourself, figure out how to respect yourself.
Mhm.
And that will help you to build the tools to love, honor, and respect your children, your parents, your husband, other people. So yeah, I feel like I don't know how to overemphasize the importance of loving yourself in a healthy, you know,
Right.
in a love, like just genuine love. That's what
Right.
I'm yeah.
And I was trying to joke around, but I'm gonna say this real quick. I have a website where my work is as a writer. It's ayapoyapa.com. But also we have a website we created together called Doaya Media. And on that you can find our magazine. It's called Up UP, Unapologetically Pro Black magazine. And just the things we work on. And Angela also has written works that's on Amazon. You can find once you go to our sites, you'll start finding us. And even if you type our names in Google, well,
Yeah.
mine knows because it's an unusual name, you'll find it.
Yeah, you have way more of a presence. It's hard to find me on Amazon, but I am there and I'm enjoying I love writing about and thinking about black love and how
Mm-hmm.
like I hear just on the edges this conversation about the gender war. I don't really know nothing about that. Like whichever sister said, a cancer. I know about love. I know
Yeah.
about. I've been around some loving black men. I've been around
Yeah.
some. So I don't know nothing about the gender war.
Mhm.
But black love is natural. Loving yourself is beautiful. Let's love ourselves and each other. Let's
Yeah.
go. You can do it.
So
We can do it.
everybody in the chat room, thank you for having us on, and
Yes.
thank you for the work you do.
Yes.
Thank you. I mean that. So,
Thank you. Thank you. And I want to say to you guys, thank you for giving me your time. It has been a pleasure. It has been a delight having this conversation with you guys. You guys are such a lovely couple. I appreciate you guys. Ayapo is finally good to talk to you on camera. We talk a lot in the chat. And Angela, you guys are a blessing to each other. I can tell. I can tell, and I appreciate that. One of the things that I take away from this conversation is the way that you guys, even in this interview, speak life into each other, constantly affirming each other. And you're probably doing it without realizing you're doing it. But that was a breath of fresh air to see that play out in these spaces. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks you for giving me your time. You guys could have been doing anything else, but you came and you gave me your time, and I just want to say thank you guys and
thank you.
appreciate you. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, and thank you for the series because I'm all for
Yeah, it's
black
awesome.
love.
Beautiful.
The other day I was hearing bits and pieces of a conversation of black men saying what they love about that was
Yeah, that was.
okay,
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought so.
Mhm.
Black men saying what they love about black women saying what they love. I'm
One of
all
my
for that.
favorites.
Let's yes. Thank you.
Thank
Keep it up.
you.
Keep it
all
up.
righty. Thank you guys. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Peace and blessings to you. All righty.
Peace.
All right, guys. So that was Ayapo and Angela. Such a really, really sweet couple. I hope you guys enjoyed them as much as I did. And got something out of the conversation. I'm gonna go ahead and just make sure anyone that and Ayapo's website I put in the chat as well, guys. I'm also gonna send the link again to his YouTube channel if you guys want to check his uh YouTube channel out. Go over there and subscribe, give him a like, a share, all that good stuff. I'm gonna put his link for his YouTube in the chat as well. Oni, thanks for being here, sis. She said, I know that's right, Angela. Hey Dante, thanks for passing through and showing some love. He says, just dropping in for a second. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to you as well. My good friend. Angie West, she says, love, black love. So do I, sis. Appreciate you for coming through and showing some love. Dante says, brother Ayapo and the Mrs. Angela. Good evening, Dante. Hanifa! Dante! Thanks for coming through and showing love, Dante. It's always you're always appreciated over here. Ayoka said, at least have healthy couples in your orbit. You don't have to share intimate details. Ashe, I agree with that as well. I agree with that. My ad says wonderful conversation. And by the way, guys, my ad over at my ad speaks, she just did a let me see if I can pull her thing up real quick. She just did a really good conversation yesterday, just talking about why she's no longer a Christian. I think that it was very masterful. uh the way that she had the conversation, she was able to bring her husband up, because they've sort of been on their journey together. I'm gonna put my ad's channel in the chat. You guys go over there and check it out. My ad be having some really good conversations. And I think my ad is on her way to 600. Guys, I think I am short maybe 5 people of my 500 mark. Support the channel, support positivity channels who are bringing you good content. Check out my ad speaks to get that conversation and many, many more. She always have some good things going on over there. Thanks, my ad. She says, wonderful conversation. Who else? Dante, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend too, Dante. And Ayapo says, peace, everyone. Thank you all for watching and listening. No problem, my aunt, no problem. And Ayaoka says black love is real. Yes, and we are to push more of this in the forefront. I'm gonna try to, do at least a black love. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out, but I want to make sure I bring more couples who, you know, are open to talking about black love just in a really, really, realistic, honest, transparent type of way, not having to give us all the details of their what do you call it, relationship, but be able to just show, to give a good display of, positive. Ayapo and Angela, they give off a really positive energy. We need to see more of that, versus having conversations about people who are just miserable to be together, or who has no faith in black love. And so I want to bring more of that to the forefront, guys. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys have enjoyed your holiday weekend and enjoy the rest of your weekend, because I will be back, I think, on Monday. I might change my title. I'll see what happens, guys, because December is going to be a little bit of a shift for me. So, yeah, I'll let you guys know about that. But thanks for hanging with your girl. I appreciate you guys. And until next time, peace and blessings.